Hi there, you are listening to the Guitar Speak podcast. My name is Matt Wakeling, and this is the show that I produce in Sydney, Australia, where I speak to leading guitar players from all around the world. Thank you so much for joining me. Now today I revisit my conversation with the absolutely legendary John Norum of the band Europe. Yes, we talk about that song, The Final Countdown, and that solo. Unbelievable. Still blows me away to this day. We talk about John's influences and Europe's latest album, Walk the Earth. This show was originally published leading up to Europe's tour of Australia in 2018, and it's just as much fun to listen to it again now as it was then. This episode is brought to you by The Pedal Movie, a feature-length film all about effects pedals created by the music gear marketplace Reverb. I am super excited about this film. The Pedal Movie features nearly 100 interviews with people like Steve Vai, Peter Frampton, Jay Mascis, Billy Corgan, and more, including some of our Guitar Speak podcast alumni like Dweezil Zappa, Sarah Lipstate, Johnny Barmer, and Brian Wampler. Reverb's The Pedal Movie is available now on iTunes, Google Play, and Vudu. For more information, visit www.thepedalmovie.com. Today's episode is also brought to you by Fretboard Biology, the comprehensive online guitar course put together by Joe Elliott. Now, Joe is not only a fantastic guitar player, he draws on his years of experience as the ex-head of guitar at the Guitar Institute of Technology and also at the McNally Smith Music College. Here's a few words from Joe about the course.
If you're tired of wading through hundreds of random guitar videos and just want to become a better player, Fretboard Biology is your answer. Fretboard Biology is a self-paced, college-level program that'll give you the right instruction, in the right amounts, and in the right order. You'll learn the same information I taught to thousands of other guitar players over 30 years of teaching in top music colleges. If you want to make real progress with your guitar playing, then sign up for a free 7-day trial at fretboardbiology.com.
All right, let's just jump straight into it. Here's my conversation with John Norum of the band Europe. Here we go. John Norum, welcome to the Guitar Speak podcast.
Thank you.
Great to have you. We're all very excited that Europe will be touring Australia in May 2018. I was surprised that this was the first Europe tour of Australia.
Yes, yeah, it will be the first time. None of us has ever been there before. I mean, we haven't been there as a band or in holiday or anything like that. So it would be the first time for all of us.
Oh, great.
So we're very excited to come to Australia, because we've been all over the world and played and toured and stuff, but we've never been in Australia. So we're very excited to finally come to Australia and play. Excellent. For all the fans.
Great stuff. Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. John, when I want to talk about the new album. Such a great record. But if I can go back a bit, the first time I heard you, and I'm guessing a lot of guitar players, the first time we heard you was when The Final Countdown was released. And when I was advanced enough to try and work out what you were doing, which wasn't for a while, but I realized you were really linking some very fiery diatonic playing with a really heavy blues influence. In fact, the solo in that song, you're really leapfrogging between the two, and that seems to be a hallmark of your style. John, can I ask what influenced you in developing that style?
Well, it started with Richie Blackmore when I heard Made in Japan.
Okay, yeah.
When that came, I heard it like in the mid '70s sometimes. A friend of mine in school, he said, he's got to hear this album. And before that, I've been mainly just listening to more softer stuff like Elvis. Albums that my mom and dad had at home, basically. Elvis, Beatles, the Stones, and things like that, bands like that. And the Purple, Made in Japan, that was it for me. That's when I was like, wow, when I heard Strange Kind of Woman, Richard Blackmore's tone and his phrasing and everything, and it was heavy. And that's when I decided that I wanted to start to play lead guitar.
Okay.
Because before that, I was just mainly strumming on my mom's acoustic guitar at home, playing along with Elvis songs and things like that. So that's really when it started, and when I decided, I want to learn how to play lead guitar, because that was the coolest thing I ever heard.
That's great. Were you playing an electric guitar at that stage?
No, I was just playing acoustic.
Okay.
I was just learning chords. My mom was a guitar player as well. She showed me a few chords so I can play along to the Elvis albums and Cliff Richard and whatever else it was at the time.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
So I didn't have an electric guitar, and I finally got one in I think it was in the mid-70s sometime, and I can't remember the year because I'm really bad at years and dates and stuff like that. And the first one I got was an Arbeiter, and it had a whammy bar on it, which was very exciting. You can do some dive bombs and stuff.
Yeah, perfect.
And it was like an SG-shaped guitar with like a Strat headstock,
Yeah.
It's like a cheap guitar, but yeah, I remember when I got it. I saved the money for quite some time, and I just picked it up at this guy's house, and he didn't have a case to it, and so I just kind of walk along the street there with the guitar, and when I got home, I put it against the wall, and when it was time to go to bed, and I couldn't sleep all night. I was like just laying there staring at this thing. It was like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. It was exciting. So and after that, I just I got a Japanese Les Paul called Morris.
Okay.
Gold top, and just started playing along to bands like UFO, Michael Schenker, Gary Moore, Thin Lizzy, all the guitar players.
Yeah, cool.
Actually. And I was a huge Lizzy fan, still is.
Okay. Yep.
And Black Sabbath and whatever was going on at the time, whatever the 70s bands, the hard rock 70s bands, and
sure,
were huge influence, so it was a mix between, and also I was very much into because my stepdad had a huge collection of albums with blues guitar players like Mike Bloomfield and John Mayall's Blues Breakers with Peter Green and Eric Clapton and things like that. So he said to me, you got to listen to this. This is kind of like the Bible for blues and rock guitar. And so
awesome.
I listened to that stuff a lot. Like the Eric Clapton, Peter Green one, Hard Road, and the classic Biano album.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, they say Biano. They say Beano. I think they say actually Beano album, but it's not actually called. It's not called that. But it's just because Eric Clapton sitting there reading it. But I think it's just called John Mayall's Blues Breakers featuring Eric Clapton.
Okay.
Eric Clapton or something like that. But for some reason, people call that the Beano album because he's reading the comic, when he's reading it.
Oh, that's right, on the cover, yes.
So, yeah.
That's cool.
So the melodic part, the melodic stuff basically comes from Thin Lizzy, the harmonies, and Michael Schenker was also very big influence because of his great melodies that he did with UFO, the albums he did with UFO in the 70s.
Okay.
That's how it started.
That's cool.
I just kind of mixed it all together. With a little bit more of the classical stuff that Richard Blackmore did, and you can actually hear that on the final countdown solo. It's very much Richard Blackmore influence, and then you have a few blues licks thrown in there.
Yeah.
That type of thing. So
Yeah, fantastic. That's so cool. I love that. So, yeah, I guess what you've just explained, that really sums up those kind of two sides of your playing, but you seem to meld them together very seamlessly. It's really your thing now.
Yeah. It's just, I just do what I do, whatever feels natural, and I don't analyze it that much anymore. I used to do it more in the 80s, think about those things, but now I just, whatever fits the song's the best, that's what I'm after. If it's a fast song, I might just go for it and just improvise, whatever happens. But if it's a more a slow song or a more melodic song, I like to work out like a melody thing in it, and I might borrow a melody line from the vocals or something and add it into the guitar solo and things like that.
Yeah, so, very cool. Very cool. The latest Europe album, Walk the Earth, that came out in 2017, full of so much great stuff. It's interesting you mentioned the 70s hard rock influences for a band that, obviously you guys started in the 80s, but you seem to bring a lot of the 70s. I hear a lot of your synthesis of, I guess, Deep Purple and Zeppelin and some of those influences on the new record. Sounds great.
Yeah. Those are the bands that influenced us when we started, and we kind of have gone back to the roots a bit, for that whole thing. We wanted. It's nothing really planned, like we want to play, classic rock or anything like that. It just has come natural to us now, and we recorded the last album at Abbey Road Studios in London.
Yeah.
So it was fun. It was exciting to be there, and we wanted to get that sound. We wanted to get that warm sound that the albums had in the 70s, and because a lot of albums these days sound very cold to me. Because everything is recorded digital and all that stuff. So we use old tape machines and old compressors, and Joey sang through a compressor that John Lennon would once use.
Okay. Wow, that's really cool.
And I'm using the same console as for the guitar parts and for some drums as well, like Pink Floyd recorded Dark Side of the Moon on the same gear. It's still there. So it was exciting to be there and finally get to work in such a legendary place. So.
Absolutely, yeah. So that was a deliberate move to record at Abbey Road to capture some of that vintage kind of vibe through the equipment and that space. Yeah.
That's why the album sounds so warm, because we use all that gear. It's from the 60s and the 70s,
Yeah.
So it's a warm sound. It's a warm, thick sounding album, and that's the way we like it, I think the best recordings and the best sounding albums came from the 70s, So I'm like I said before, I'm very old school in that sense. I'm not into high tech new productions that much, I like it to sound warm and nice.
Yeah, cool. The guitars sound fantastic. The whole album sounds great, but the guitars are so big and present. What sort of gear are you running to pull those tones?
Amps, you mean, the amps?
Yeah. What amps did you bring along in guitars?
Yeah. It's Marshall amps. One is a 50 watt. Which is from 1971.
Okay.
It's actually a bass amp. It's a model 1986.
Is it the super bass?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cool.
And that one is a great sounding amp. So I used that one for all the 90% of the album.
Okay.
I used that one, and except for one solo. And a few rhythm parts where I mix when I do some overdubs on the rhythms. I use the Jason 800.
Okay. Yep.
which is I guess considered vintage now too, because it's from like the early '80s.
Yeah.
Jason 800
Yes.
amp. So yeah, it was just those two amps that old 71 and an '80s Jason 800 that
Okay,
I mixed
great.
together. You know?
Great.
So, yeah.
Did
And the
you?
guitars are just vintage stuff. I mean, it's I have a '65 Strat, which I had now for 30 years.
Okay,
It's actually the same guitar I recorded the Final Countdown.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So
Awesome.
I call it the Final Countdown guitar.
That's great.
And then one Les Paul 58 reissue, and the Flying V. I like these classic shapes. I'm not into any funny shapes, funny shaped guitars.
Sure.
It's a Telecaster and Flying V's and Strats and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Old school stuff, basically.
Cool. Are you boosting the amps with any pedals or anything particularly for some of the solos and things?
Not the Jason 800. I just go straight into that one.
Okay.
It doesn't need any boost or anything, because that one has enough gain already.
Sure.
But the 71, I use an overdrive pedal, which is a DoD 250 overdrive preamp.
Oh, okay. Yes. The classic.
It's classic one. The first one they made, I think, it came out in the late 70s sometime, I think.
Okay. Great.
So I used that one with a 71 50 watt amp. Those are great, but it's quite noisy, so you have to use a noise gate in front of it. They
sure.
sound great. They have great sustain, and they have a lot of string in the sound. They don't compress so much either. So yeah, just one of those old stump boxes.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Sounds fantastic.
That's it, and then you just add whatever effects you want to add. You just do that, through the mixing, like a little bit of reverb, maybe a little bit of delay in a few places and things like that. And then I use a fuzz box too on one song, Haze, and because our producer Dave Cobb. He's a huge fan of old fuzz boxes, so he wanted me to use it on one song.
Okay.
Because I've never really been into fuzz boxes that much, but when I heard it, this is really cool, so I don't know, one of those old ones, I don't know what it's called. And the flanger as well on one song, I think. So just not many effects, not into really that much effects. I just want to have a little bit of delay and maybe a chorus or a flanger on some like clean stuff.
Okay, yeah.
And that's about it.
Nice.
And of course the wah-wah pedal. I have to. Of course, the wah-wah pedal.
Yep.
Is very important. I love the wah-wah pedal. Yeah, I think the best one I ever heard is the one that Custom Audio Electronics in Los Angeles makes.
Oh, okay,
Bob Bradshaw.
The Bob Bradshaw one, yeah, cool.
That one is amazing. It has two settings. You can get one that is kind of darker, and one sounds kind of like an old crybaby.
Okay,
and also has a boost function in it as well, so you can get an extra boost. When you get tired, after you've been playing for like an hour and a half, and you still have half an hour to go, you push that thing in and you get a little bit of help. So on the way, it's like
yes.
when you think it's like getting tired, you get a little help from that thing, a little boost.
That's great. That's cool.
Yeah.
I hope you are enjoying today's interview. Now, this podcast is brought to you by The Pedal Movie, a feature-length film all about effects pedals created by the music gear marketplace Reverb. Now, we love guitar pedals here on the Guitar Speak podcast, and we're super excited on the release of this film. The Pedal Movie explores how effects pedals and their builders have shaped modern music and guitar playing over time, from the fuzz pedal experiments of the Rolling Stones and Jimi Hendrix through the shoegaze and indie rock of the 90s and up to the modern day use of effects. Reverb also speaks with builders and leaders from more than 50 pedal brands to answer the big question, how did guitar pedals get so big? Reverb's The Pedal Movie is available now on iTunes, Google Play and Voodoo. For more info, check out thepedalmovie.com. Today's show is also brought to you by Fretboard Biology. Today's episode is also brought to you by Fretboard Biology, the comprehensive online guitar course put together by master guitar teacher Joe Elliott. Now, I was a beta tester for the course, and as a music educator myself, I was very impressed by the logical layout and format of the course. Heavyweight guitarists such as Brett Garsed and Greg Koch have also endorsed the program, so check it out at www.fretboardbiology.com. Okay, back to our interview. When you mentioned the fuzz sound, that must be on the track Wolves, I think. That stuck out, that tone.
Yeah. It's I'm sure it's on Hayes, and it might be on some other song as well. I can't remember.
Okay.
Now, but I'm sure it's all over the place on the song Hayes.
Yeah, that gets pretty trippy, that song. All the rhythm stuff is a fuzz box, and also actually I did a solo too on that song with a fuzz box, and I think I did another solo as well with a fuzz box. Okay.
I can't remember, but I think it's like 2 songs or something like that. Because when you do it, I don't plan it ahead of time. It's just kind of like go in and do it. It's like when Dave Cobb, the producer, comes up, why don't you use a fuzz box on this? It's like, yeah, sure, let's try it. And then we try it, and that sounded great. It didn't work or whatever. And then I kind of just move on and I forget about it. And then I don't remember what I used on what. But the main sound of the album is the Jason 800 straight in and the Super Bass 51 with the DOD 250 overdrive preamp. Cool. That's the main sound.
Great sounds, yeah. Very organic and just big and very, very defined. I think probably because they're not very high gain sound. They're relatively they're very thick, but they don't have a lot of gain by today's standards. There's a lot of clarity in all the parts that you play. Yeah. I'm not into too much gain in overdrive and fizzy kind of guitar sound. I like it kind of clean, I mean, one of my favorite guitar sounds is on Made in Japan. Yeah. Richard Blackmore. I mean, he used like a 200 watt major, a Marshall major 200 watt, and just a tone bender with a booster or something, and just straight in. And it had a very clean sound, but a lot of sustain. So I like a lot of sustain, but I don't like it when it gets fizzy and fuzzy. I like to keep it kind of clean, So you can hear what you're playing. Some people can hear what you're playing. Yeah, nice. That sounds big. Sounds big. There's a couple of interesting songs on the album, Pictures and Turn to Dust. They have some very interesting chord changes, and you negotiate those very well. Do you have to plan out when you're soloing over those songs that are moving around, that are modulating in different places?
I mean, it was quite simple actually to put that together. I mean, we just have to figure out what kind of sound really that fits the songs, and I just do a bunch of takes. Sometimes I just try different songs and do a bunch. I might do 5 or 10 takes or something, because sometimes we're not sure what is going to fit the song the best. And then Dave Cobb just goes through and says, I like this one the best. And then he just, said, just go for it, so the songs are quite simple. It's not nothing. It's not like Aldo Meola or anything, but But they're quite interesting chord changes and stuff like that. It's a lot more. It's a lot more of that now than any previous album for sure.
Sure.
So, yeah, and a lot of that stuff comes from our keyboard player McNally, because he can come up with stuff on the keyboard which are very interesting, and he's also he's very much into like Genesis and Yes and Frank Zappa and bands like that, so he can come up with some really weird stuff, and it's like then I have to like copy it on the guitar. So, oh damn, this is weird. There's like weird chords and stuff. So yeah.
Oh, that's great.
It's good. It's fun. It's fun to do that type of thing too, not just regular bar chords, typical bar chords all the time, but come up with different type of weird chord changes and stuff like that.
Nice. I mean, talking about the keys, there's some really good, really interesting unison lines you do with the organ tones on some of the tracks as well.
Yeah. It's great. Yeah, it's great. It's a great sound. Yeah. McNally he's amazing. He's one of the best, I think.
Yeah, cool.
Killer.
So when you come to Australia later this month, what are you able to bring with you in terms of gear? Do you bring your entire rig, or do you have to trim it down a little?
No, we have to trim it down a little bit. We're not. I'm bringing pretty much the whole rig. I mean, except for the cabinets.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Because So the cabinets, we just do rentals on the cabinets.
Yeah, sure.
Because I'm using like 6 of them or something. I don't know how many it's going to be this time around, but it's not necessary to bring those things because it's Marshall anyway.
Of course, you can get them anywhere.
Marshall cabs, you can find them anywhere.
I'm sure we'll find 6 of them in Australia for you.
Yeah. I prefer the vintage 30s. Those are my favorites. But the 75 watts, are okay too. But the vintage 30s are my favorites.
Okay. Yep.
But I'm bringing, I bring the amps, bring 2 amps. But I usually just use one, but in case one breaks down, so it's good to have it back up.
Okay. Yeah.
And I bring 4 guitars. Usually I have 5 on the road, but we manage with 4.
Okay. Yeah.
So and the tiny, not tiny, but it's not tiny anymore. It used to be a lot smaller. I used to have only 3 pedals. On a cardboard thing, very minimal, small board. But now I have one of those mastermind switching systems, and it has a pedal board with it has 5 loops in it, so I have access to. And that's behind the stage. I just run through. So I just have the mastermind foot control in the front, which has a phase 90 and a exotic EP booster and a flanger and the wah pedal and the delay, and that's it.
Okay. Yep.
And that's it. Yeah.
Sounds good.
So that works.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Don't need any more than that, really. I don't use them that much anyway. So I mean, I think the flanger and the phaser I used to use like maybe 3 or 4 times in the whole set.
Oh,
the set is like
sure.
2 hours long. But it still make a difference in the songs because I like it to sound like the album. Recreate whatever I used on the albums. So as close as possible.
Yep. Yeah, cool. When you say you'll bring 4 guitars, do you bring your vintage guitars on the road, or do you take other ones?
No, I leave them at home.
Yeah,
I have they kind of too valuable to bring on the road.
Sure, yeah.
But the ones I'm bringing, they sound just as good. They sound great. But I leave the old '60s Strats at home. And I have one of Gary Moore's old Strats.
Oh, really? Wow.
And yeah. So I leave those vintage pieces at home, but because I'm bringing, or when you compare them to the old ones, they sound just as good. So yeah.
Sure, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, you want to bring I don't see the point of bringing a 59 Les Paul when you can have a 59 reissue that sounds pretty close. I mean, it's like the difference in value is like,
yes, yeah,
it's huge. So but I use all that stuff in the studio when we record. I use both new guitars, and when I say new, the newest one is probably from 2004. I mean, that's the newest one I have, but it's a really good Strat. It sounds like an old one, So so yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, John, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. Really great to meet you and talk about your career and the new record. And yeah, as I said, we're really looking forward to seeing you later this month for your debut Australian tour.
Yes, it's great. We're leaving now on Thursday, so we're very excited. We're going to Indonesia first to do one show there.
Okay, cool.
And then to Australia 3 days later. So we have a few days there to adapt to the time difference and also the climate. Because in Sweden it's always not always cold. Today's a kind of nice day, but it's a huge difference compared to Australia. So
it is.
And the time difference. I don't know what the time difference is. What time is it there now?
And now it's about 9:30 Monday night.
A Monday night. Okay.
Yeah.
What's
happening?
It's like 1 o'clock here in the daytime.
Okay, on Monday? Is it Monday or Sunday?
Yeah, it's Monday.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay, so not
1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay, so not too different. Yeah.
Yeah, so it takes a few days to adjust.
Yeah, sure.
The time difference, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It'll be good. But we're very excited to come to Australia finally. We've been, just waiting to do this for so long, and the fans have been on us like crazy. It's like, when are you coming? And finally we get to do it. So we're very excited about it.
Yeah, fantastic.
It's going to be fun.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, John, and enjoy the rest of your day with your kids before you hit the road again.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Take care.
Thanks, John. See you soon. Bye. All right, there you go. Hope you enjoyed today's conversation. Now, this podcast was brought to you by The Pedal Movie, the feature-length film all about effects pedals, created by Reverb. Reverb's The Pedal Movie is available now on iTunes, Google Play, and Vudu. For more information, visit thepedalmovie.com. The show was also brought to you by Fretboard Biology, the comprehensive online guitar course put together by ex-head of guitar at GIT, Joe Elliott. Check out fretboardbiology.com for more information. Alrighty then, you have been listening to the Guitar Speak podcast. My name is Matt Wakeling, and as the legendary German rocker Michael Schenker once told me,
keep rocking, keep on rocking.
Keep on rocking indeed. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you next time. Bye now.